Hi everyone, I've recently watched both Ozzy Osbourne documentaries that have been released recently. The one on BBC, Sharon Ozzy Osbourne Coming Home, and the one on Paramount Plus, Ozzy No Escape From Now. They are completely different. I'm not going to say if one's better than the other, they're just different. I'm going to start with the one on the BBC, which is an hour long, and it takes on quite a positive note of Ozzy trying to move home. It's coming home, it's called. So moving home back to the UK, back to the house they bought years ago, and it's Ozzy looking forward, and it also covers a little bit about the back to the beginning gig at Newcastle, Birmingham. Why did I say Newcastle? Birmingham, England, as the great 00 said. Then, obviously, he passed away 2 weeks after the concert. So it's an hour long, quite endearing, quite charming. And also he's in fairly good spirits in it. On the flip side, as a Paramount Plus subscriber in the UK, we got Ozzy No Escape From Now, which is a completely different take on the last few years of the great man's life. Whereas the BBC one, the last 3 years, this one starts in 2018 when Ozzy's suffering from depression. So this is 2 hours, I think it's 2 hours 4 minutes, something like that. So it's feature length, and it's a hard watch. It really is. It goes into quite great detail. Ozzy's health battles. We all know he'd been ill with both his Parkinson's and after the fall and various other health problems. But this goes into quite a lot of detail, and you see him, the poor guy suffering a real lot. It was hard to watch. It really was. Did I enjoy it? Not really. I found it interesting and explained a lot. And when he was going to do the festival appearance in America, that was cancelled the No More Tours 2 tour, so cancel that. And just how fed up, just how down he was about it. Not just he's in a lot of pain, you can tell the guy's in a lot of pain, but just how devastated he is, how personally he felt letting people down, cancelling. And he seems to have a lot of blame, a lot of guilt for it. I felt really sorry. Both documentaries, I felt very sorry for him. As I said, the BBC Coming Home was very much Ozzy looking ahead, and this one was really a document of his medical issues over the last decade. He's still very funny in the Paramount one. He says, when I got to 70, things all went wrong, but it could be worse. I could be Sting, which really made me laugh. So he is, through all this, all the pain and suffering, and the guy is suffering in this. He's in a pretty bad way, Oz. He's still really funny, and I think that's the true testament to the man. The BBC one doesn't really go into the recent releases. The Paramount one does. So Patient Number 9 and I can't remember the album for it, with the bowler hat on the cover. They go into the making of that. His collaboration with Post Malone, and his appearance at the Commonwealth Games in Birmingham, where a few days I'm not going. He says, forget it, I'm going. I'm just going to go, see what happens, and you know what? He was a real trooper. As soon as he saw the crowd, he says that's the best cure that he can have. So if you're an Ozzy Osbourne fan, I would recommend watching them both, but don't expect the same. I saw the BBC one first, and when the one on Paramount, I thought, is this just an elongated version of the BBC one? No, they are completely different documentaries. One's an hour-long TV documentary available on the BBC iPlayer. I don't watch much on the BBC. This is probably a very rare programme I watched on it. The other one, for people in the UK anyway, is on Paramount Plus. I'm not too sure what networks you have outside the UK. But there you go. I think we're all starting to realise how much we miss Ozzy, because he's one of these figures that's always been there, whether he's been performing or not. As I said in the little tribute video I made to him, he's probably the most electrifying performer I've ever seen live. Just absolutely otherworldly. And a very funny man too, as you know, these documents, and even in the worst of times, his spirit and his good nature and his good humour shine through. And let's not forget Sharon. I've got to admit, the BBC one, Jack comes across a bit spoilt, but the Paramount one, there's not much of the kids. Probably more of Kelly than the other one. More of Sharon, and more of Sharon and Ozzy together. And Sharon suffered through this, and all the family have suffered, but especially Sharon, she really has been by his side. And the saddest part about Ozzy's passing for me is, in these documentaries they said, right, we are retiring, we just want to spend time together. And sadly, they never did. I think it was I'm genuinely upset when he died, and it was not a huge shock. It was still a shock because I watched the stream of the Back to the Beginning, and he was ungrateful, physical limitations aside. So God bless Ozzy. I do with Sharon. It was been reported. I tell you what the press say in the UK with a pinch of salt, but according to the press, she's not doing so good, which is understandable. You know, poor woman's husband's died, so you know I think the press should give her time and space to grieve, as well as the family to grieve. I just wish her all the best. A lot of people don't like Sharon. I actually quite like her. Yeah, she put up with a lot over the years, bless her, and she's a character. And you know, whether she'll be rattling around the big house in Buckinghamshire on her own, I don't know. That's her business. That's her business. But I just want to wish Sharon, all of Ozzy's extended family and friends, all the best. I'll never meet them, but you know, Ozzy's someone that's always been there. He's always been there for us. You know, ever since I got into music and got into metal, Ozzy's always been around, and it's a strange world not to have him in it. But there you go. He did burn twice as bright as anybody else, I think. Never dull with Ozzy. So I just thought I'd share my thoughts on both documentaries, the differences between them. If you're an Ozzy fan, watch them both, but get the tissues out. I had a little bit of grit in the corner of my eye for them both. So thanks for watching, and hope to see you again soon.